So I'm alongside Aljamain Sterling, who fights Brett Johns April 21st at UFC Fight Night Atlantic City. So tell us, what have you been up to today? You said you've been catching up on some TV programs.
Yeah, I got a couple of TV shows that I watch in my downtime when I'm not coaching, not training, or eating. So I kind of let them try to build up. This way, Fridays, I have a good amount of downtime in between training sessions that allow me to just relax, watch shows until I fall asleep, and then take a little nap before the next one, and just recover a little bit for the last training session of the day.
What kind of things are you watching at the moment?
Um, hmm, I watch Suits.
Okay.
I'm addicted to Billions, which actually got me investing in the stock market
Wow, okay.
lately, and looking at different stuff and trying to learn about it more. And I'm watching The Flash, DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Okay.
I watch a lot of stuff. I finished Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, all those. So I watch a lot of TV shows, and keeps me busy. It takes your mind off of fighting a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's good. Obviously, downtime is important for you. I mean, you must have had quite a hectic last couple of weeks. Obviously, your teammate Iaquinta was fighting at UFC 223, and last minute, was fighting Khabib. So how was that whole process? Because obviously you were there, you were right in the middle of it.
It was sick. That was an experience of a lifetime, I think. You can't make that kind of shit up, you can't script that. And Al's such a G, he just stepped up. Like, once he found out, he told these guys right away he wanted to fight, no hesitation. Just like, dude, I know I'm your guy. And they were trying to find any way to go around him, and thank goodness everything worked out. I guess you could kind of thank Conor for setting that up, because I think Chiesa would have gotten a shot over Al just based off him having a win over Al, winning the show, and being ranked higher. Paul Felder wasn't ranked, so the commission wasn't going to allow it. And Pettis was former champion, but of late, I think Al definitely has a stronger credentials, but they were trying to give it to Pettis, and he wanted more money. Al was the only one whose game was like, just make the fight happen, and I'm going to be the guy to step up and take my shot.
And of course, you said, it all kind of unfolded because of the Conor McGregor incident. I know Al was on that bus, wasn't he? Where were you at the time?
I was on a train heading over to the city.
Right, okay.
So it was kind of crazy. That was that Friday or Thursday? That was Thursday, right? I think Thursday.
It was, media day. After the media day, so it must have been the Thursday, right?
Yeah, it was Thursday. So I was just training. I had my last sparring session that day. But actually, it was crazy. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I saw all the guys start falling out. Max Holloway, Pettis, then Felder, and I was just like, yo, what is going on? And then I saw in the morning, Friday morning, Al got the fight, and I was on my way after jiu-jitsu to the city, and just making weight and getting ready to go.
So what was that like, obviously being in the center of that and walking out with Al? What were the kind of moments leading up? Because obviously it was such a short notice fight for him. What were the kind of leading moments like?
It was sick. Just the whole experience, being in the back room, that longer walk you do for the main event, title fights. The crowd, it was packed. I took a video for him. I was like, this is a memorable moment that, I think is something that everyone's going to want to relive and kind of just see, like, man, was the crazy experience. Just watching that video gives me goosebumps. Walking out, I'm like, dude has the opportunity of a lifetime to really, really change his life. And, this is what the sport's all about. When you get an opportunity like that, opportunity comes knocking at your door, you take it. And I think Al's stock went up. Even after coming up short, I think his stock went up. As one-sided as the stats showed, I think Al showed that Khabib is really human in there, where Khabib looked unstoppable against all these other top contenders. You got RDA, former champion. You got Edson Barboza, who's a killer on the feet. And he made those guys look pretty bad, And I think like I said, it was one-sided for the most part, but Al showed, Khabib is not as this untouchable guy as he was built up to be. You go in there, you fight him, you hold your own, you stuff a couple of takedowns, pushing back. And that was only one day's notice. We didn't make any adjustments. We didn't watch any tape. We just we're going to go in there and just going to fight this motherfucker. And that was it. And we're training for a three-round fight. Ended up going 5 rounds. So there's a couple of positives you could take from that. And Al's right there,
Joe Rogan was a little bit critical of Khabib's stand-up. I know obviously he apologised afterwards. But what did you think of Khabib's stand-up in there?
I think Al stopped reaching. He was reaching a lot to kind of gauge his distance, and then once he stopped reaching, he just started slipping a little bit more. I think he was luring Khabib into wanting to stand up more instead of trying to dive in at his legs every few seconds, and it started working. The only thing was he said it himself, he just didn't really have that extra gear to really up the tempo with his striking and really push the pace on Khabib as he normally would have liked to have done. So he was kind of trying to slip, and he was eating a couple of the jabs. He said he was just kind of tired. You couldn't really tell, but he said it. He was like, yeah, he was definitely feeling it, and that was his way of keeping his standing. And I think that's what makes Khabib look so successful with the jab. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Khabib, but I think on a 5-round training camp, I don't think Khabib lands as many strikes on the feet as he did in that fight.
Mm-hmm. And if if we did see, Conor and Khabib go at it, which a lot of people are obviously talking about now, what do you think the outcome would be of that fight?
You know what? After watching that fight with Al, Conor's a little longer in length in terms of his arm reach. It's a little bit more dynamic in terms of he doesn't only throw punches. Al's mostly hands. Conor throws a lot of kicks and punches. He has some tricky stuff. He has shown improved takedown defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Conor. The only difference is if Khabib gets Conor down. I think that might be it. Conor would have to really make those adjustments that Al showed. And he has a particular skill set where he knows how to wrestle. He knows how to not give up wrist control when he's on the bottom, how to turn your body and roll through when the guy's mounting you and trying to flatten you out. That takes experience, because when you're in there, sometimes people freeze up and you just don't know what to do. And like Barbosa, like Rafael Dos Anjos, who is Michael Johnson, they get in those positions when they get taken down, get their legs trapped together. They don't really know. I mean, and Michael Johnson wrestled. They just don't know where to go, what position to turn, how not to get that wrist trap and get flattened out. And you get flattened out like that against a guy like Khabib, he's gonna drown you. He's gonna be like a wet blanket on top that punches. So it's an interesting matchup. I think on the feet, Conor could really pose some trouble, especially if Khabib doesn't set up his takedowns. I think a lot of those takedowns Khabib was shooting were kind of, I want to say, not the highest level of setups. It was kind of like diving in. I think if you dive in on somebody who's going to be looking to step back and counter, it could be some bad things that happen. But I don't know. It's an interesting matchup. Once Khabib gets his hands locked, he's a nightmare on top. He's literally like a wet blanket.
So we're a week away from your fight. So what's your schedule like at the moment? Are things starting to wind down a little bit?
Actually, maybe they should be. But I have such a wrestler's mentality. I've been doing 2-a-days all last week. The week before that, I've been doing 2-a-days all this week. Monday, Wednesday, 2-a-days all week. I was debating on not training tonight and just kind of resting. I'm going to take Saturday off. Saturday, I'm going to take off completely. Friday, Sunday, probably hit pads, something light. I just want to keep the weight under control, stabilize my body, get used to walking around at this weight. So as soon as I step on that scale and I start to rehydrate, my body is more familiar with this body weight and performing and competing here. So I know I'm not going to have any shot. There's going to be some type of deficit to the cardio, but at least it won't be that I don't even know the words for it, but it won't impact my cardio as much if I keep my body acclimated to walking around at this weight. And that's the main thing. What I've been learning from my last few fights, I've been performing pretty well. Cardio, I mean, I never really had cardio issues except the Caraway fight. So, I don't know. Just getting older, learning how to do things a little bit differently and more professional, and just trying to take care of my body more. I'm still doing 2-a-days, but I'm not beating the crap out of my body like I would be when I was younger, pounding my body all the way up until fight week, literally like 2 days before. So.
Okay. So, I mean, you're coming off a tough loss. How did that affect you mentally? And it was the first time that you lost like that. So how does that affect you mentally going forward?
That's the thing. I don't think it affected me at all.
Okay.
If I'm going to be 100% honest, I made a mistake. I don't think Marlon did anything spectacular. He threw a switch kick, looking to catch me to the body, coming in. And I just happened to be dumb enough to shoot because I was just so excited to get that fight back to the floor because I knew I could submit that guy. At least I know I would. If I took him down, I would give him fits on the ground. I think I'm the best. I truly do believe I'm the best MMA grappler in this division. I think my grappling is a lot different in terms of the top pressure, mixing in my striking in between the transitions. I don't think nobody is doing it as well as I'm doing it, and that's my honest opinion. People could debate that all they want, but I know what I'm doing to guys in there. They know what I'm doing to guys in there, and I just had a mental lapse for 1 second, and I pay for it. It's just how the sport goes sometimes. It sucks. If I shot maybe a little bit further away, I end up maybe catching his foot. If I shoot a little bit closer, I maybe hit his thigh, and it's a different fight, you know? But at the end of the day, I failed to set it up, which was a mistake on my end, and that's all I could take from it. It's not like I got outclassed. If I got outclassed, it's like, all right, coach, we need to fix this, this, and this, and this. But that was literally me and up here. I just got to be smarter, more dialed in like I normally am. Take my time, be patient, let the finish come. And not skip the steps, not try to go from A to Z without hitting B, C, D, E, F, G. I just went from A to Z, and it wasn't a good turnout.
So like you said, it was a mistake, really. So in terms of kind of your approach to this fight, has anything changed or has things pretty much stayed the same in terms of your preparation in your camp?
I went back to more wrestling. I mean, there's sometimes I guess more times during the sparring session. I guess the beginning sparring sessions, I was keeping it standing a lot more. And I spoke to my coach because, a lot of my sparring is with Marab. He's also fighting on the same card. But he is such a tough dude to spar with in terms of his cardio, his wrestling defense. Even if you do get him down, the guy gets right back up to the feet like a freaking cat. And it's very exhausting to try to keep that high tempo, high pace up. And if you step in and overcommit, he catches you coming in. He has very unorthodox striking, and the way he does it is so different from what traditional guys do. So when you have a guy like that, I told Ray, I just said, "Hey man, I'm gonna make a few adjustments. Let me know what you think." And he said, "Dude, you're the one in there. You know what you're feeling. This is what I think you should do." And I was like, "All right, glad to see that we're on the same page." And then the very next sparring session was completely different, and I think I had a lot more success with my stand-up, and especially with my wrestling, because when I'm more patient, I take my time, and I set everything up instead of trying to be this striker that people want me to be, not my coaches, but like fans, because I'm stepping in, doing all kinds of the fight doesn't go like that. You're not hitting packs. You take what comes, and you kind of got to feel out what the guy's giving you based on the reactions of the things that you're throwing his way. So that's pretty much been the only main change. And I know if I get my hands locked at any particular moment in this fight, Brett is going to get, not Khabib time, because it's going to be so much worse. I know for a fact it's going to be so much worse. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm really excited because I think Brett's not going to quit. I think he's going to bring the best out of me and bring the best performance out of me to date. And I'm excited for that. I hope he's ready for a war because I know I am. I'm mentally ready to come out. I already made peace with it. I come out bloody, bleeding, whatever. I don't give a shit. I just hope he's mentally coming there to fight the same way I am.
So what did you think when they put forward Brett Johns, the name, to you? Did you know much about him, and did you watch his last performance?
Yeah, I saw a couple of his fights before he was in the UFC. I checked the prospect list. He was on the list, and I checked him out. I want to see what all the hype was about. And to be 100% honest, I really wasn't too impressed. I mean, going back to my days before I got to the UFC, I don't think my performances were super impressive. Besides, if I took you down, it usually ended up in a submission. But he wasn't really submitting guys. He was taking them down, split decision wins here and there, decision wins, kind of taking them down, laying on them. And I know he said the same thing, problems I always have. People were criticizing my stand-up and saying my fights weren't exciting. I'm like, dude, I'm finishing freaking fights. What more do you want from me? But I know that he said the same thing. People were criticizing him because he was kind of taking guys down and kind of doing like the GSP style, minus the ground and pound. But, he was getting decisions. Like, some of them were dominant. Some of them were close. And I think that's pretty much it, He's pretty straightforward in what he does. I think I'm pretty straightforward in what I do, except you just don't know what's going to come flying your way. So I think it's an interesting matchup. And that's pretty much – I don't know how much stock to put into his last win with Joe Soto. Mm-hmm. It was 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. Joe Soto's a world-renowned leg lock practitioner. I think for him to get caught in that position was kind of like, hey, I'm okay in this position. I can hang out for a little bit, relax, set something up. And I think by the time he realized that Brett actually knew what he was doing in that position and locked up that calf slicer, it was too late. He locked it up, figured for his legs. There was no getting out of that at that point, especially not being sweaty whatsoever. So I don't know how much to put into that. So I'm expecting the best Brett Johns. I'm expecting improvements. I'm expecting him to be coming forward like he normally tries to do, be like the tough guy plotting forward and trying to dictate the pace of the fight. And I think that's going to play into exactly what I want him to do.
Do you think he has what it takes to grapple with you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fight. It's not a BJJ match, Mm. But I know if I brought him down to Sarah BJJ on a Tuesday night, I know what would happen to him. So that gives me confidence. I'm okay with showing live Instagram stuff on my training, because at the end of the day, it's one thing to watch, it's another thing to actually have to deal with it. You don't know what it feels like until you're actually locked up with that person inside the cage or on the mat. And I think that's what's going to prove to be the difference. Psychological warfare, just being mentally tough, and Brett he's showing he has some solid grappling. He's a judo black belt. I'm a 2-time All-American wrestler. My style is predominantly funk wrestling. I create a lot of scrambles, and I usually win 90% of those scrambles. So even if he wins 10% of it in the fight, one of them, I create another scramble. I end up on top. I think good things are going to happen. This is going to be a fun fight for the fans for sure. And that I can pretty much guarantee. It's going to be a fun fight for the fans.
And, in terms of you getting back in the win column, how eager are you to kind of put on that kind of performance that you were looking for in the last fight? And, you've been quite active in putting up pictures I saw on Instagram about being the best grappler in the division. How eager are you to get back into the win column and put on such a great, a good performance next Saturday?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get back in there. I feel like it's been a long time. 2017 was a good year for me. I was pretty active, 4 fights. I just got to, take it one fight at a time, one round at a time, 1 minute at a time, and just do my thing. I got to be calculated. I got to be wary of my distance, my timing, how I'm setting things up. And that's pretty much it. My motto has always been my mantra, too tough, too strong, too quick, and I can't be broken. And that's got me through college. It's got me through my toughest matches. It's got me through my toughest fights with some of the guys that I thought would be the one to possibly beat me, and I had to mentally check myself in the back room. This will be no different, I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities and my skill set and what I bring to the table. I know what Brett does. I know what he brings to the table. And at the end of the day, we're just going to have to figure it out on April 21st.
And what's your prediction for the win then? How do you get it done?
think in a perfect world, I think after I kind of get a feel for him, I think in the second round I submit him. I think he's going to get desperate. I think he's going to shoot a sloppy shot, trying to get the fight to the ground. And I think he's going to leave his neck out there. And if he leaves his neck out there, I'm going to be like a freaking viper. And I'm going to snatch that thing up in a heartbeat. And that's been one of the things we've been working on. The guys shoot. We're looking to attack that neck right away. We address it, attack the neck right away, and put the guy in a bad position and look to get on top and ground and pound, let that shit fly.
And how far is Atlantic City? How obviously I'm from the UK, so I don't really know too much about, how your distance is there, but it's pretty close to where you are, right? How long does it take?
About 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Give or take with no traffic. I'm probably going to be leaving after my last jiu-jitsu session on Tuesday. That's going to help me get the weight down as close as possible. And then I can relax Tuesday night. And my weight cut's it's going to be pretty smooth, I think, for this one. I've been doing a good job. Been lifting heavy. I feel freaking powerful, as Matt Serra would say. I'm going to be snatching limbs and ripping Kimuras. So I think it's been a really good and fun training camp. It's been kind of long because I've been training probably since the beginning of January. But, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back and just have fun again. I think that's all it's about, going in there, mixing it up, and having fun. I know the challenge ahead of me. Brett's, to get to the UFC, to be at this level, to be undefeated. I know the pressure that come with it. I was once that guy. So I expect Brett to come in motivated and feeling like he's untouchable. I noticed in his interviews he's never once said how he's going to win or said he's going to win. He's kind of like, he just says it's going to be a good fight. I think one of the things that the differences between the two of us is that I'm willing to wear my heart on my sleeve and say what I'm going to do. And I have the confidence that I can back it up. At the end of the day, you're not going to take the fight if you don't think you can win. So if you don't have the balls to go out there and say what you're going to do and say why you believe you're the better guy, if you're just trying to say you're just going to step in there and see who's the better man that night, then whatever. At the end of the day, I have the confidence to say how I'm going to win, why I'm going to win. And I'm going to let you know those reasons. And you're going to have to deal with it. And it's going to make you question, since you're not ballsy enough to say, these are your strong points and this is where you win. I think we match up well on paper. We do everything particularly well in each department. I just think each department I do things just a little bit better. The wrestling, I think I'm a lot stronger in the wrestling department. I think the clinch, I think I proved to have done more damage in the clinch than he has in any of his fights. I think standing up, I think I land more strikes. I think I land the cleaner strikes. I think I'm harder to hit on the feet in terms of defense. I've never once sat on the cage and sat there and let a guy tee off on me in the pocket. And I think with the submission games, I think I'm more dynamic and have a lot more ways to win and a lot more finishing touches. I just think overall I'm the more complete fighter. And at the end of the day, you can't measure heart. So we're going to just figure it out April 21st.
Is it something that you normally do? Is watch your opponent's interviews and things like that on the run up to the fight?
I watch a few. Fight week after that, during fight week, I don't give a shit. At that point, the work's done. I just worry about myself at that point. It was kind of weird because he was like, for weeks, he was like just watching all my Instagram stories. I post my trainings and I'm like, I don't know if this guy's fucking with me or if he knows that I'm looking and I can see that he's looking at my stuff. Yeah. But then of late, he posted something on Twitter. Somebody said something. I guess it kind of lit a fire under his ass, and then he stopped looking at my stuff. I was like, thank goodness. Like, yeah, dude, worry about what the fuck you're going to do. Stop worrying about me. I like to think that I'm probably somewhat in his head, and he's worried. Of course, I'm nervous. You always get nervous for the fight, but at the end of the day, I'm still confident in what I bring to the table. I do believe I'm going to win. I really do believe that. And at the end of the day, I just got to go out there and get it done.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing your fight on April 21st. Enjoy the rest of your day today, catching up with your TV programs and get some rest. And we look forward to speaking to you again sometime. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. You guys can check out my training vlogs, my diet plans, what I'm going to be doing all fight week. I'm going to be posting some stuff on my YouTube channel, so you guys can check that out I got a link directly in my Instagram bio, or you can just go to YouTube and find Funkmaster MMA. But yeah, so if anybody that has questions on how we diet and how we get down, how we rehydrate and all that stuff, so I try to put out some good content for the fans that are really interested in the life of a fighter.